WisconsinEye's Campaign 2024 programming is sponsored by Wisconsin Counties Association, Nicolet National Bank, Wisconsin Hospital Association, Operating Engineers Local 139, the Wisconsin Realtors Association, the Wisconsin Laborers District Council, and North Central State's Regional Council of Carpenters. To support programs like this, please consider a tax-deductible donation at wiseye.org/donate or by texting WisCI to 44321.
Jerry Helmer of Prairie du Sac is the Republican candidate for the 40th Assembly District. The election is November 5th. Jerry Helmer, welcome to WisconsinEye.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for participating in our candidate interviews. I'd like to start by asking you, what's your campaign's key message? Why are you running for this office?
Well, I'm running, I've been involved in politics for some time, and I'm at the age to where I think life will let me be involved in politics, and I think the time is now. And the 40th Assembly is a rural district, and I want to be able to make sure that the rural farmers and small businesses have a voice in the legislature.
So if you're elected, what's an example of a bill that would be a priority for you to introduce?
Well, I've recently talked with some farmers, and they're very concerned that, they were given money to fix the roads, the rural roads recently, and it's a one-time commitment. And they would really like to see that be a continuing, ongoing maintenance. And I think that's something I'd really like to push through.
So if you enter the Assembly, if you're elected, you'll be entering during a biennial budget year, and the state's projected to have more than a $3 billion surplus. What would be your top two priorities for use of that surplus funding?
Well, my top priority would be to return it via tax breaks to the constituents. But if we had to spend it, I would like to see a lot of it spent in the rural communities, such as they did with the helping the different communities. And that money belongs to those people right now, so I think it should be given back to them in some way.
You mean shared revenue? Is that what you mean?
Yes, a shared revenue.
So when you talk about tax breaks, what is tax reform, or what do those tax cuts look like for you? Who should get a tax break? Are you talking about across the board tax reform?
Across the board tax reform. I think we need to really look at a flat tax. I think that that would be the best way to go for everyone.
K-12 education. It's a leading issue for many voters. What's your campaign's top priority for K-12 education?
Well, the schools feel very underfunded, and that's why we're always seeing referendums. And I think we need to look at how schools are funded. I think that the model that's in place now and has been is really not working, and that's why we see those referendums. I also support school choice, and I think we might need to look at separating those two so they're not all scrambling for the same money. And I think that might cure some of the problems that they're having right now.
What about higher education? The state's four-year colleges, two-year colleges, technical colleges. What does the future of that system look like to you, and what should the legislature be focusing on?
Well, I kind of think that higher education has gone off skew. They tend to spend too much time, in my opinion, on social, emotional programs, DEI, those types of things, rather than working on STEM programs and preparing people to be out into the world and making a living and not so much being activists. Technical schools, I think they're doing great. I think we need to continue to fund those people. The nursing schools, we have a great need for more nursings, and they have a great nursing program at the MATC.
Does the Universities of Wisconsin system need more funding?
I think maybe they need to spend their money more wisely, in my opinion, before they are funded more money.
Let's talk a little bit more about the workforce. What do you see as the state's largest workforce development challenge, and how do you propose to address it?
Well, being in business, one of the biggest problems is finding people. We have a shortage of people in Wisconsin, it seems like, especially skilled people. I think we need to provide more training for the people that are on welfare right now, that so they can fill these jobs that are available. And I really think that that's created a large problem, that there are so many people on welfare.
Investments in public and energy infrastructure grow our state's economy. This also provides an opportunity to invest in our state's workforce, but currently there are no requirements for hiring local workers. Would you support a state resident hiring requirement for state, local, and utility scale infrastructure investments?
Yes, I would. I believe that you take care of your family first, and Wisconsin is our family. But it is a fact that we don't have enough workers here, and if we have to go out of state to get our infrastructure projects completed and things like that, then we have to do those things. But I truly believe that we give our citizens the jobs first.
Employee classification is an issue in the construction industry. Some employers misclassify workers as independent contractors or pay them in cash off the books. This lowers costs by avoiding payroll taxes and unemployment insurance, and it puts compliant companies at a disadvantage when bidding on projects. Plus, misclassified workers may be denied minimum wage protections or overtime pay. Are you aware of this issue, and what do you think should be done about it?
Well, I think this has been going on forever. There's always been people taking side jobs, just trying to fill in their paychecks. We have so much regulation that employers can't really pay directly to their employees what they're worth, because we have so many taxes and things we have to pay, so many regulations that these people are just trying to make a living. I don't know what we could do about it other than maybe controlling some of the regulations that are spawning some of this.
Let's transition to housing. Affordable rental housing is an issue in Wisconsin. Some support government-imposed rent control to maintain affordability, while others argue keeping rent artificially low will decrease rental supply, resulting in increased prices. What is your sense of housing as an issue, and which best addresses rental housing affordability? Is it rent control or building more rentals or something else?
Well, I do not believe in rent controls. I believe if you own a property, you're entitled to make a profit. But being rural where I am, if you look around Madison, Milwaukee, Appleton, you see a lot of apartments going up. The contractors and developers are all building here. But if you go out in Portage and Baraboo and smaller towns like this, you don't see those being developed. And I think we somehow need to make that more attractive for developers to come out and build some housing for our workforce in these rural communities.
So incentives for housing
Yes.
developers? Healthcare. Medical systems are facing numerous headwinds in the form of inflation, workforce development, and issues around Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement, resulting in fewer services and even the closure of a hospital system in western Wisconsin. What would you do to preserve access to care and prevent future closures?
Access is one thing. We have a lot of rural hospitals that are critical access hospitals, and we do support them. But I think one of the major problems we have is we have so many people on Medicaid. And Medicaid does not reimburse at the levels that insurance companies do typically. And it's really making it a struggle for hospitals. They are not for-profit facilities. They need to make a profit to be able to keep operating. And so I think one of the things we can do is to get some people off of Medicaid, get them back to work, get them to be productive citizens again so they can be proud of themselves and not have to go and say, well, I don't have any money. So I think that would really cure a lot of the problems if we could just get a hold of that.
Do you support increasing Medicaid rates for hospitals in the meantime?
I would think yes. I would think yes.
What about mental health care? It's a growing concern for many Wisconsinites, a concern for state and county budgets. In your district, what are you hearing on this issue, and how might you address it?
Well, one of the things that I see happening, and it's kind of appalling, is young children committing suicide. And I truly believe that we have created some of this mental health problems with telling children that they're racist, that they're being not boys or girls and promoting these things. And I think it is creating a mental health crisis, telling them that our parents and grandchildren, our grandparents are destroying the planet, that the planet's going to be gone by the time these children are grown. I think we need to address some of that and stifle some of these things that's scaring our children and creating a mental health problem.
There need to be more resources in mental health and more supports in schools, or how would you support young people then?
Well, I think controlling what kids are taught, teach them how to think and not what to think, and maybe we do need more school counselors to deal with these things.
What about abortion policy? How should Wisconsin move forward on the issue of abortion?
Well, to begin with, I am 100% pro-life. I believe life starts at conception. But I do believe that abortion is necessary sometimes. And I think we need to, between the Democrats and Republicans, we need to compromise some. I truly don't believe that any Democrat believes that abortion at the 9th month should be made legal. During Roe v. Wade, it was not. In the 3rd trimester, it was not legal to have an abortion during that. And a lot of these are talking points, and it's created a lot of division here. In Wisconsin, abortion is legal at 20 weeks.
You support that?
Well, I think it should be a shorter period of time. I think maybe 14 weeks would be plenty. I understand that this law needs to have some more description to it. I think the exceptions need to be spelled out, because there's a lot of fear that doctors have that they're going to get in trouble because they ended an ectopic pregnancy, these types of things. And I know that a lot of women are afraid of those things happening to them. So I think if I could get a health care personnel to work with me to help write these bills or the amendments to the bills, it might be very helpful.
Transportation. What are the pressing transportation needs in your district, and how important is it that these needs are addressed and for the state to keep on schedule with the reconstruction of our aging interstates and significant corridors of commerce?
Well, in the rural areas, we are more concerned about our rural roads, of the farmers being able to transport milk and carry their grain and whatnot across these roads, and a lot of them are in disarray. The roads are in bad shape. I hear a lot of times that they're sending all the money to Milwaukee and they're sending it to Madison for the highways and things like that. We don't have a transportation problem as far as getting from point A to point B, but we have a problem with roads.
More money for rural
roads. Money for roads. Back to the previous topic of being able to have ongoing maintenance for our rural roads.
The environment. PFAS and other water contaminants are a concern for a growing number of Wisconsinites. Do you see this as an important issue, and how would you propose to address it?
I think it's an important issue. How to address it, I'm not sure. But I understand that there was a bill that the governor vetoed that was probably a pretty good bill. And I understand that the problem that the Republicans had with it is that they didn't want to take exception to farmers that have land that this PFAS is passing under, that they under their land that they don't have any responsibility for, but they could be made to shut down their property, saying that it's unusable. And so I think we need to be able to work with our governor, who has vetoed over 200 bills in his tenure, to be able to deal with these things.
We are on to the final two questions. I'd ask you, how would you describe the leading differences between you and your opponent?
Well, I really haven't heard my opponent say anything about anything. So I can only assume that the biggest difference is she's a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and I carry very conservative views. I do know that her life was, she was a circus clown, which I'm sure she had a lot of fun at that, but she also worked with the Boys and Girls Clubs. So her experience was with nonprofits. Mine has been with small business, and I think I bring a lot more to the table as far as financial responsibility with other people's money.
All right, the final question. Let's say you're elected this fall and you're given a magic wand and you can use it in the state capitol to resolve just one issue in a way that brings all parties together. What would that issue be?
World peace. One thing that I hear a lot, and it's from both sides, is election integrity. I think we all need to be able to feel that our elections are fair and safe. We need more openness and be able to make sure that when you cast a vote, your vote is counted. And we have a terrible issue right now in our country. And I don't know exactly what the cure for that is, but if I had a magic wand, that's what it would be for.
All right. Thank you, Jerry Helmer of Prairie to Sac, the Republican candidate in the 40th Assembly District. The election is November 5th. Jerry Helmer, thank you for talking with WisconsinEye.
Thank you.
This programming is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Thank you for watching.